With the 24 hours of Daytona complete, NASCAR announces their lineup for the Garage 56 drivers, and we talked to Matt Knight, owner of Nightfall Graphics, next right here on Overdrive. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in or checking us out. This is FTSR Full Throttle Sim Racing Overdrive. My name's Brody Hanna, and of course, I've got on the couches beside me Richie Coy and Tony Solari, as always. Guys, welcome to the second
Hello.
episode.
What's up? Just want everybody to know Tony and I aren't on the same couch. I don't want
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
getting
Well, we don't. Yeah. Good point.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, but we got a special chair in the office as well here. Sorry we couldn't get you a couch. Matt Knight. Matt, welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging out with us.
No, thanks for having me.
All right, Matt. You're one of the newer drivers in the league, but you got a lot going on. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, look, I'm a retired Air Force guy from Australia. Pretty new to sim racing. I think I started in 2020 during the pandemic because I couldn't leave the house and all that sort of stuff. And I think I watched. I was just watching YouTube down a rabbit hole somehow, and saw. I think I forgot his name. I think it's Lul 48, whatever. And I just all of a sudden he was in my algorithm, and then maybe a month later I bought a Logitech wheel.
So you bought your equipment. You said, "All right, I'm going to do this." You hop in there. Now, I know we were going to ask about this. So again, Australia. I'm sure people picked up on that just when you started talking. It's like, oh, I know that accent. So tell us a little bit about Australia.
Wait,
I think,
wait, he's got an accent?
yeah. Well, maybe we have an accent to him. I don't.
Perhaps maybe you need to subtitle me. But to get into oval racing as an Australian is actually really difficult. It was only last season that Cup races got aired on TV here, and even then, if you weren't waking up early on a Monday morning, you weren't catching the race.
That's kind of what we have with F1, where with a lot of the overseas stuff, we have to get up at ungodly hours to watch it. So,
See, now I was going to say too. So that's kind of what got you into iRacing in particular. I mean, if you're new to sim racing, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. So the oval stuff really brought you to iRacing, then, huh?
Yeah. So when I first caught my rig, I straight away was into road racing because I've been into racing for as long as I can remember. I mean, my earliest racing memory I have is watching Adelaide Grand Prix with my dad in 1993 or 94. It was the year that Schumacher wrecked Damon Hill for the championship in the Benetton car.
he did.
So that's my early. Oh, he totally did. So that's my first memory of racing, and so like I've always been into road racing. My dad used to drag race. He used to have a it's an Australian car that you guys probably never even heard of, a Valiant Charger. It was a 265 Hemi, double barrel carburetors, all that sort of stuff. It was like in a street sort of
wasn't Valiant the one that was wasn't the Valiant the one that was in Mad Max, the first Mad Max movie?
Yeah. Oh no, that was a
Or was that a Holden?
No, it was a Ford actually. I think from memory it's an XA coupe. What's his name? Eric Bana owns one now, famously, and he made a movie about it called The Beast.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Well, doco maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Ford Falcon. Ford Falcon XB. Yep.
Yeah, XB Falcon. Yeah, you go. Which is dirty language in this house. You're allowed to talk about Mopar and Chevy in this house and nothing else.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's cool. Everybody kind of knows the Australian racing scene is the V8 supercars. That's what we know. It's kind of where where you go when you think about racing in Australia. But it's interesting that the cup races just recently started showing up in Australia, huh?
Yeah, just last season. And really only the nighttime races were the ones that sort of got airtime. Um, and some races weren't. It'd get taken over by some stupid cricket match or something dumb like that. But yeah.
Well, so shifting back to iRacing, in the iRacing sim, and I know you said you've started in 2020. What is your favorite car and track combo that you've found so far in the sim?
That's a tough one. Because recently with the Toyota GR86, 86 should I say, um, that thing is just a blast to drive at any track. Um, a few years back, I did Aussie driver search and had to race a GT86 in real life, and they've in the sim they've really nailed that car. So that's what I'm enjoying driving at the most at the moment. But when it comes to oval racing, give me Charlotte every day of the week. Some people hate it because it's low grip and cookie cutter, but I absolutely love it, and
Yeah,
especially in the B car.
yeah, I like it too.
That's Brody's favorite track is
No, well,
Charlotte.
it's not my favorite track. It's one of my
Oh, come
favorites though.
on.
I
Yeah,
like
you
it.
love it.
I mean, you put Nashville up there. You put some of the other tracks, Las Vegas.
Yep, you're right. Nashville Super Speedway, Dover is another one that I really
Oof,
like.
Dover's hit or miss for me. But anyway, um, and sticking kind of with iRacing, so I want you to kind of tell us about your sponsors. Interesting that your team and your team is Thin Line Racing, and you've got a teammate that's got Black Rifle Coffee as a sponsor, and you guys kind of tell us about how you guys kind of met up and how you kind of came to terms with the sponsors you guys are running. It's kind of an interesting story to me when I heard it.
To be honest, it's uh, a few of us. I think we've got 4 founders of Thin Line Racing. 3 of us are veterans. I was Air Force EOD. Uh, Robert Anderson was US Air Force. He was a aircraft mechanic, which ironically was my base trade in the Australian Air Force. So we had commonality there. And our other friend was an MP, which I don't know why we like him, but he unfortunately got crumped by a IED in Afghanistan. So immediately, me being EOD and him, we sort of have that sort of connection and respect between us. And I guess we just formed a team, and I came up with the name, and everyone liked it because who doesn't love military emergency services? All those guys. There's not enough time in the world to spend on those. So we just sort of have that thing with Thin Line Racing. And when it comes to coffee, I mean, I'm a caffeine fiend, and I don't know many people in the military world that don't rely on caffeine to get out of bed.
Yeah.
The Australian Warfighter Coffee, I just they brought out a special edition coffee, and they mentioned a guy. His name's Troy Knight, no relation, but he was a CCT combat controller, JTAC Special Forces guy, and I knew him from some interactions that we had, and reached out to him and asked him if it'd be cool if I ran his graphics and stuff, and he just looked after me. Every time I make an order, there's always of coffee beans. There's always some extra bits. In fact, a package arrived today, and there's all my coffee, and then a couple of bags of some jerky that he's started to make.
Mm.
So that's the relationship with warfighters. And then I guess Robert being, US and BRCC being, Black Rifle being American based, is sort of like, well, I'll do the Australian stuff. He does the US stuff, and it's just who doesn't like coffee and military.
That's really
Well,
cool, and I like to see when things kind of come together like that, where you guys are kind of on the same page. And I do want to say too, I appreciate it, and you're in Australia, I'm not, but I appreciate what you guys do in the military, abroad and here at home, taking care of your people, your country, and everything. So really appreciate what you guys do.
I was going to say the same thing. Appreciate all the military. Doesn't matter whether you are in the world, Australia, U.S. You guys sacrifice for your country and your freedom, and much respect for you guys.
Every time someone says thank you for your service, my response is always the same, and it's no. Thank you for my service, because without my service, I don't know what direction my life would have taken.
Well, I'll
My
say this on the U.S. side, that is one thing I can say I'm happy to pay for tax wise. Some of the other stuff, but that is actually used well. As far as giving you
Money
guys
well
what you need.
spent.
Do what, Tony?
I said it's money well spent.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
sir. I have a cousin who actually the military basically saved his life. So, like I said, I definitely have a lot of respect for the military and what it does and how it can change people's lives for sure.
Absolutely. Kind of switching gears here, though. I wanted to get to this before we started on our news. You mentioned Nightfall Graphics is something you started, something you guys are proudly promoting as far as some graphical work, some doing iRacing paint, logos, and much more. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Look, that's I feel embarrassed to call it a business. Essentially, it's my creative outlet. Since so I was medically separated from Air Force in 2018. So financially, I'm stable because of some good decisions, and also just the way the Australian government looks after injured veterans and whatnot. So it's just my creative outlet. So I try to look after people, giving what they want, and it's more about something for me to do than it is about making money or any of that sort of stuff. But there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So yeah.
Well,
we got to cover.
if somebody wants a logo or paint job or anything like that, how can they get a hold of you?
To be honest, because it is a hobby, it's probably pretty difficult. But if you're in the FTSRs in Discord, just shoot me a message and I'll hook you up.
All right, look for Matt Knight if you guys need all that stuff. And Matt, I will say before we get into it, happy to have you on board for FTSR. I look forward to this season, seeing what kind of we can kind of hopefully provide for you guys, and hope you guys have fun. But looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, man. I'm really happy to be in a series where you got all three cars represented, and you can almost like move up the ranks. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, plenty of racing for sure. Monday through Thursday, absolutely. So looking forward to that. All right, so jumping into our first topic for NASCAR news. The Garage 56 lineup was announced actually right before the 24 Hours of Daytona started. Drivers Jimmy Johnson, Mike Rockenfeller, and a surprising one there, Jenson Button. I know a lot of people thought that Gordon might be a driver. Interesting that he didn't get the ride though. But Richie, looking at this lineup, I mean, it's a lot of strong guys, a lot of championships among these three guys. Good deal, bad deal. What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't know much about Mike Rockenfeller, but Jenson Button, I mean, as long as he can adapt to the race car, I mean, he's Jenson Button. What else do you got to say?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I mean, honestly, I think the weakest one on the team is going to be the 7-time Cup champion. Hopefully, he can not screw it up for the rest of them.
Well, it's interesting, Tony, looking at this. Jimmy Johnson, he's got time in a Cup car, not necessarily the car they're going to run or the next gen car. I don't know how he'll adapt, but you're right. Jenson Button and Mike Rockenfeller, they both have a lot of experience on road courses. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, like Richie, I have no idea who this Mike guy is. But Jensen Button, he's been out of a car for a long time, and I was a big fan with him over in F1, but yeah, I don't know if he's going to fare very well. And Jimmy, I think Jimmy will adapt all right.
Well, again, remember, they're not racing anybody either. They're just out there putting on
Yeah.
a show. So,
Well, I mean, it's still going to be it's a tough. That's like one of the toughest races on the planet, right there.
yeah, true. And again, going to you, Matt, what do you think about this? I mean, it's the Le Mans 24. It's a tough race, and we don't even know if the car will make it all 24 hours. That's another thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
reliability.
exactly, because that's what they're driving, isn't it? The Cup car, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got
it's
some
Yeah,
more
I mean,
modifications, but
that'll be the interesting thing because Jenson Button. Let's be honest, he's 17 seasons, I think, in Formula One, 2012 world champion, with Brawn GP before they turned into the Silver Arrows. He's got the skills, but he's used to driving downforce cars. So let's see
yeah.
what happens.
The same
I
thing
think
goes
this,
for Rockefeller. I mean,
but I
he's
think this car is going to
prototype.
have a lot more downforce than the current Cup cars do because they have all kinds of front stuff on it. They have a bigger wing on the back of it,
Oh,
so
for sure.
it's going to
But I
have
mean,
some downforce. But yeah, definitely not an F1 car.
yeah, there's downforce and there's downforce. Because it wasn't when Juan Pablo, he was a good driver. He was in the Renault besides Fernando Alonso when he won the championship as well 2 years in a row. So and when he went to NASCAR, what did he say? He goes, "Oh, brakes? What brakes? They don't have brakes. Like literally no brakes."
Yeah.
Compared to an
So
F1, yeah.
Well, that's going to be interesting
yeah.
on the track too, because when the cars come up to lap them, their braking points are going to be way back. As far as maybe not as bad as the old Cup car would have been, but still, their braking point's going to be way earlier than the
Oh,
other car.
it's going to be scary, dangerous. We might see a Mark Webber, Heikki Kovalainen sort of instance there.
And
You know what? I don't think it even really matters who they got in the car. They got a good lineup that's going to create a lot of press, whether they can win the race or whatever. You got Jenson Button. You're going to get a great following from there. Mike Rockefeller, which I do believe he's a road race guy, but he's going to bring guys to the table, and Jimmy Johnson's going to bring guys. It's going to be a great event for the Garage 56, for NASCAR, for everything, for Le Mans.
well, for press, but that's
Yeah.
one thing too. What a lot of people are talking now. What are their aspirations for something like that? What are they trying to accomplish? Some are saying that they want to get more attention for NASCAR, which makes sense. Garner more attention, bringing a NASCAR style car. The other thing is maybe attract more drivers to the NASCAR scene from the road racing scene. But I feel like that there's already that connection with NASCAR owning IMSA. So
Well, they've already said that Jensen is willing to come over and run the street courses for NASCAR.
it's interesting.
Yeah, surely will drive is it the 91 car that
Trackhouse,
yeah, with that Kimmy drove at Watkins Glen.
Yep.
Surely Jensen will get on that train as well.
And Kimmy actually did really good until he got taken out.
Yeah, he got very unlucky.
Yeah, he can tell you wasn't happy, but yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kimmy get some more opportunities this year as well. So we'll see how that works out with Trackhouse. But moving on from Chevy, we'll talk about Toyota. This week, Toyota said they planned on expanding their Cup presence in the next couple of years by talking to quote incumbent end quote teams. Um, my guess is smaller teams there, but interesting that Toyota is now coming out and trying to assure people that they're looking to expand their driver lineup. They got I guess the two teams in NASCAR Cup now. So interesting thoughts there, Tony. Toyota looking to expand, looking to pull off some teams, probably from Chevy or Ford, probably from Chevy because there's more Chevy teams.
Well, more cars on the track, more development. With things getting tighter and tighter with these new next gen cars and just some of the other fields. I mean, it's just more is better. I mean, look what we were just talking about Chevy. Look what Chevy's doing, developing. Even though they're sharing, Toyota just they just want to expand. They want to conquer.
Yeah, and Richie, one of the interesting things, if you think about it, Toyota is also the reason that they shut down a Toyota team for Martin Truex Jr. just a couple years ago. So this is interesting that they're now talking about expanding when they actually were contracting to bring Martin Truex on board. The other thing is you're looking at small teams. What small teams could they pull away from Toyota?
Well, your first
I mean,
point
from Chevy.
with Toyota, and Toyota has been a user and abuser for the last couple of years. They've been known for the driver development, where you don't produce in a year or two, you're out of the seat, and they move on to the next guy. So they've been a user and abuser for years now with drivers. So the fact that they only have two Cup teams left, and they're basically the same team, just split between 23X and or 23 whatever racing and Joe Gibbs. I'm wondering if they're trying to find the next Joe Gibbs, so they can kind of move away from Joe Gibbs because of the controversies that they've had over the last year or so with Ty and some of the questionable decisions that they've been making as far as letting Kyle Busch go, that kind of stuff.
I don't know that that's so much Toyota though, is that it was Joe Gibbs as far as them losing, because it sounded like Toyota wanted to keep Kyle Busch and wanted to
Well,
keep
that
Kyle Busch in a Toyota, and Joe Gibbs was the one that didn't make the deal happen.
right,
So
and that's what I'm saying. So Toyota might be mad at Joe Gibbs.
some okay, I see what you're saying.
So they're trying to get somebody else to step up and take over, and then they can move their, move around a little bit. As far as little teams, you got Rick Ware, you got what's his face, Corey LaJoie's team, some of those teams that Front Row Motorsports.
yeah,
So there's a couple out there.
they could pick up
Who's
a
left
few.
to run Joe Gibbs after Joe Gibbs goes?
Yeah.
That's what you got to look at too. Maybe it's just going to be a dying issue in a couple of years.
Well, I mean,
Literally.
you got to look at the success of Trackhouse. I mean, Trackhouse had amazing success in the debut of the next gen car, but they did it with Chevy. So maybe Toyota wants to do it next year with the next Trackhouse.
Well, yeah, and Matt, we're talking about Toyota, but also NASCAR said they were reaching out to other brands to try to, try to get more manufacturers into the series. That hasn't materialized yet. So is this Toyota trying to claim some space in the series before maybe some of the other manufacturers try to court some of the teams?
I'd love to see more manufacturers. A few years ago in VH Supercars in Australia, we had Volvo and Nissan running. We're back to running just Holden Ford now, but you might as well call it Chevy Ford next season with the Camaro and the Mustang. But more manufacturers is just better for everybody, I
Yeah,
think.
and
And I,
Toyota's always had this issue too of their pipeline. That you get to Xfinity and there's all these Xfinity Toyota cars, and there's only been, well, now there's what, five rides in Cup for Toyotas. So you got all these drivers and they have to find somewhere to go. They lose a lot of talent in their pipeline, and they're probably trying to fix that.
can I throw a side wrench in here? And that I saw an announcement that Ford may be partnering with Red Bull as far as close as maybe possibly this season in
Yeah.
F1.
So yeah, I heard
That
that too.
that is freaking awesome. I'd love that.
Yeah, but I don't know what implications. Like I know even Chevy's looking to get into F1 too. So I don't know what these implications are going to be for NASCAR, but looks like NASCAR was trying to expand their manufacturer base, but their manufacturers are looking in other series. So I don't know.
Well, the engines are frozen in F1 until 2026. But if Ford partners with Red Bull, Red Bull owns their motor department, and they may make a deal with Ford to maybe have Ford start manufacturing the engines after 2026. But the
Yeah,
fact that Ford ends up back in F1 again on the Red Bull team, it would be freaking awesome.
yeah. Chevy, boy, it'd be interesting. Ford gets in there with Red Bull. Chevy gets in there with Michael Andretti. Uh,
Would it go in with Andretti? I would have thought it would go with McLaren, seeing as they're already with McLaren for IndyCar.
well,
Um, Cadillac's supposed to be going with Michael Andretti, which is GM. So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
that's true.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
speaking of Cadillac, totally off topic. The bump starts at Daytona. How hot was it sounding?
Oh, you
No
talking
one else
about
heard it.
the electric?
In the hybrid, yeah, where they pull out of the pits in the on the electric motor and then
Yeah,
bump start the V8. Oh,
yeah,
orgasmic.
yep. They did pretty good. They did pretty good with that. The GTPs are back. That's pretty cool too. I
Yeah.
guess we can pivot to talking about the 24 a little bit. I don't know if how much you guys watched the 24, but interesting race for sure. They're towards the end, especially for the LMP threes. Come
was that the
down to
threes? Is that the
yeah,
threes or the seconds? But yeah, that last lap pass, or
yeah,
even last straightaway pass.
yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
drafting.
Yeah, it was a good race. I
It
mean,
was.
from what I saw, I mean, I had it on for a lot of it, but as usual, it's on, but I'm not really paying attention or watching it. And
Yeah, like
but from what I seen, I mean, yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, it just kind of reminded us of our last weekend when we did it.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
yeah,
just thinking
who
too.
won? Who won our race again, Tony?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I don't remember. Oh yeah,
yeah, I was able to. That was pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, GTP's being back. That was awesome to see those cars. Not as many issues as I thought they would have. They were able to stick it out. And Elio Castroneves gets his third in a row with the team. You got um, Sebastian Bourdais. You got, I don't know, Colin Brown. I forgot the. Oh, Blomqvist. Those four.
Blomqvist, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, congratulations, man. Congrats all the teams. It was a
Yeah.
good race. They said they had the biggest crowd in Daytona 24 history, so that's pretty cool. I know we.
Jeremy Stanley was there from Nerditudes.
Well, I think Robert Anderson was there as well. We had a few guys there,
That's
so
cool.
that was pretty cool. Anyway, so the 24 is complete, and that
What's
usually
next?
signals the start
What's
of.
next?
Well, I guess the Clash is next. Clash coming up next weekend. Um, lot of buzz surrounding it. One of the buzz um, topics was the podium and the medals they're giving out for the winners. Thoughts?
I didn't hear. I was going to ask you about the medals and podiums because
Yeah.
I
So
had not,
basically, they're
I had
giving
not
out.
heard that.
They're going to have a podium at the end of the race, and they're going to give out medals to the top three finishers. Kind of, I guess, similar to F1. Um, although they did do this before at a race before.
Is
So
this
it's not.
just going to be for the Clash?
Yeah, just the Clash.
Well, maybe just because of the stadium vibe.
Well,
Yeah, with the
they said
Olympics.
because of the Olympics were held
Yeah.
there and to kind of foster that emotion kind of thing. So they wanted to have something special. So interesting. You'll have the top three, especially if the top two get into it for the win, and they got to stand up there beside each other. Should be a lot of fun. And given
It's
that Joey
amazing that
Logano and Kyle Busch finished 1-2 last year, well, you get them two mad at each other. It should be fun.
it it only just occurred to me that there's only the winner in victory lane.
Yeah.
Of because
Yeah,
we
with NASCAR. Yep.
yeah, because we don't get to watch it, and when we do get to watch a race, very rarely do. It's like usually because they run a little bit long. It'll be the winner crosses the start finish line, interview on the track, and then bang off. No more coverage.
I wish
So
it was
yeah,
like that here.
it just never even occurred to me that there's no podium. That's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be against doing something like that, but I would be more for that than I am for what they're doing on the interviews at the start finish
Yeah,
line. I would
just
much rather them
imagine
move it
like
back to the victory lane or something.
Well, I mean,
just
if you look at,
imagine the camera in the cool down room like they have in Formula One
I was
with the
about to
three.
say, the F1,
Yeah.
it's part of the end of the race is, and my wife makes fun of me all the time because as soon as the race is over, I'm like, oh, we got to watch the
Yeah.
everything at the end because it's such fanfare and stuff at the end
Yeah.
to do all the champagne and the announcing the winners, and now they did the cool down room where you get to see them, basically laugh at everybody else that they beat. But
Yeah.
NASCAR doesn't make a big fanfare, kind of like F1 does, and I think that's part of F1. I think that's F1 and the things that makes F1 F1.
Do you know
Well,
that in the like Bahrain and Qatar and Abu Dhabi, they don't use the champagne, they just use rose water because obviously
yes.
alcohol is illegal.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And they also don't allow certain sponsors as well. It's kind of interesting if you watch
Oh,
closely.
yeah.
You watch the suits in the cars, you'll see different sponsors not allowed
Yep.
in different countries. It's really interesting if you dive down into that. It's pretty the politics there are very interesting in certain places.
Oh, for sure.
I know there was controversy about the gay
Soccer.
pride flag in certain in certain countries that
Yeah.
came up as
Countries. Yep.
well. So very very interesting. But anyway, so getting back to the Clash because we always get off topic. But going back to the Clash, um, you guys want to make predictions? Maybe winner predictions, race predictions.
I predict that somebody wins, somebody gets mad, and somebody gets wrecked.
That's pretty good bet. Tony,
I have no idea. I'm going to kind of go with Richie's
you
pick.
don't want to pick a win? Y'all can pick a winner?
Oh, I'm gonna pick.
I'll
let's
go with
see.
Ryan Blaney. Just
Wow.
because he's one of my favorite drivers.
Well, he
At
did
least,
win.
At least now.
He won the All-Star race, didn't he? So he's known to win some of these special races for sure.
Let's see. I'd like to say I'd like to pick Kevin Harvick to win, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think Stuart Haas is quite there yet still. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Kyle Busch is going to win his debut for Chevy.
All right, Matt.
That I'd like to see. I just want anyone except for Penske to win.
Yeah, I can't. I'm with that too.
Oh, he's taking the field. What's wrong with Penske?
I wish they ran something other than Fords.
Yeah, I was gonna say blue oval. Like bugger off.
Oh boy, here we go.
Well, you know, Matt, all three of us drive Ford.
Oh, for shame.
That's what I was talking
I
about.
love Fords.
First on race day, buddy.
You know what the worst thing is? That I hate Mustangs with a passion. Like in particular, there's some Fords that I actually quite like, but Mustangs, they're on my shit list.
Is it because everybody has one? It seems like, because that's kind of me. I was like, they're so commonplace. It's just kind of I don't know.
Yeah, they're commonplace. They're anemic. Maybe not. I mean, not today, but like when they first came out, they were just underpowered, heavy, fat. No,
Yeah,
I would have had a Chevelle or a Vet every day of the week.
I'm more into their trucks myself.
I'm gonna go farther out on a limb and throw out a
Uh-oh.
name that you guys probably aren't thinking about, but it wouldn't surprise me. Um, well, I don't know. I got two. I'm gonna say Noah Gregson shows up in his new ride. You know, Petty's been good,
Yeah, yeah.
and put him in a good car, and as aggressive as he is, and as hungry as he probably is, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think a safer pick for me, even though it sounds, I don't know if it's safer, I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick. Because Tyler Reddick in that 45 in those Toyotas, you know how I think he was good last year.
Yeah, he was.
If it wasn't for some transmission issues, and I don't know how much of that is RCR and how much of that is Reddick, but he was doing the shifting, nobody else was. So watch Tyler Reddick as well.
Ty Gibbs, he's in Cup Series, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I'm like, he's got potential.
He's
Will he wreck someone for a win? Absolutely.
well, we know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that.
All right.
I'm not the largest Ty Gibbs fan in the world. I don't think he's going to make the end of a lot of races this
I
year.
don't think any of us are. I think he's
Yeah.
hurt his reputation a little bit, but anyway.
I don't know. I'm
Moving on.
like I'm cutting him a break. I hope he has a good season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to wish terrible things on him at this point. I've kind of cooled down after what I've seen, but at the same time, you hate to see people take advantage of other people and have success. So it's
Sure.
So I'm curious to see if Matt being from Australia, if he's getting the same type of news outlet that we are about what Ty Gibbs has gone through over the last year or so.
I get very, very little. The majority of it basically from Junior's podcast.
Right. So that's what that's why I'm thinking there's such a disconnect between what we're saying about Ty and what
that's
he's
true
saying.
too, because Junior kind of propped him up. Junior had him on, and actually he looked pretty good on Junior's podcast. He said all the right things, but he still seems a little like he's programmed to say certain things, and that's one thing that just you can see right through.
Is he, to make the analogy, is he a younger Max Verstappen?
No, not as good. and
Maybe.
twice as brutal.
But that's what I say, like twice as brutal. So what?
Yeah.
Give him 3 years, 4 years, and you got a world champion.
Maybe. I mean, because he does have talent. I'll give him that. He definitely has talent, but he oversteps his boundaries. That's probably a pretty good analogy. But I wouldn't put him on that pedestal with Verstappen. But
No, he's godly.
He's definitely got talent. He's got potential, but he's gonna have to do some repairs on his image.
Yeah.
I don't know how we get on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're continuing, but yeah, he's gonna he's got a year now. I mean, he's got his first year in Cup, so if he's gonna improve his image at all, this is his time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see what Gibbs does with him too. Anyway, let's move on to some league news. We announced, I guess yesterday, the restart zones are going to be scrapped. We're going back to restarts to go on green, and I think it's a good call. I actually checked the forums as well. There's a lot of people complaining in the forums about the restart zones as well because they were in official sessions, and then they took them out like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they know iRacing knows it's an issue, but of course we decided to go back to our go on green stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean it's and it's a shame too because I do like the concept of the restart zones. I like that concept. It works. I think it works very well with NASCAR who instituted it. But iRacing for whatever reason hasn't seemed to code it right.
Yeah.
And in order for the guy on the outside to keep up with the guy on the inside coming in for a start, especially on shorter radius corners, he's got to be faster than the guy on the inside, and that gets black flags. And nobody, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation, Tony. I know we had a few guys black flagged in our off-season series because of it. So it just puts, I think it puts drivers in the box. Unless you're the leader, it puts the second place driver in kind of a box where it's a lose-lose situation.
Well, the
So
whole outside lane.
Yeah, it does. And, we go on green. I mean, it's no big deal. A lot of, we've been doing it for a long time. We tried it this off season for an experiment, and it just seems to cause more issues than it's worth. And, I think some of the guys in the back too would appreciate going on green.
yeah, Matt, I know you ran a few races with us in the off-season. Maybe not too familiar with the restart issues, but anyway,
Yeah, I look. Yeah, when it's the smart decision to get just to grab them. If there's going to be errors without live race control, it's the smart move. Am I sad to see it go? Absolutely. But is it the right decision? Absolutely.
all right. So we again switching topics here. The 2023 A season is coming up. We just finished our off season. So I guess looking back, the last week we had trucks at Homestead. Uh, I'm growling on the inside. Didn't really enjoy that that one, but it was interesting. Richie, you were able to take home the win there, and then repeat again. I guess tonight, Monday night, and sweep Homestead. So I guess we'll go to you first since you were first in both the races too, right?
Well, I mean, I just managed to be able to, I guess, handle the setups, which were unfortunately not the greatest in the world with the fixed setup that we were using. But yeah, it was a one lane track, very hard to pass. Even with the truck, the Xfinity car, they were very similar, where they were very loose. If you tried to overdrive the car, um, so all I did was able to get a really good qualifying lap, and then was able to. Save my tires longer than the rest of you guys. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way that track winds up with that particular setup and tire combination.
Yeah, Tony, you had some good runs there as well in truck and at Xfinity.
Yeah, truck not so much. Xfinity
Oh,
not too
that's right.
bad.
Oh, that's right. You got that right. I forgot.
Well, yeah, I cracked the wall early on, and yeah, then got wrecked or whatever was involved, and but Xfinity tonight wasn't a bad deal, so I was able to kind of hang up in the top four. Um, yeah, worked out pretty good. It was slick, so I enjoy a slick track.
And Matt, you had a couple good runs. No, I'm kidding. So I will say this. I don't know if you're one of the guys. You know, a lot of guys say that they kind of avoid the fixed setups, which I mean, after what I experienced at Homestead, I can kind of understand. But moving away from fixed setups to open setups for the season, are you excited about that?
I am stoked. I cannot wait. I know I'm registered for all three seasons, all three big car seasons, but I'll be putting most effort into Cup Car. Um, I'm looking forward to learning that I guess that chassis, learn how it works, and hopefully build some top 10 cars.
If you
I
find
mean,
out
that's my
how
goal.
if you find out how it works, let us know, will you?
Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely
absolutely.
seems that way.
Yeah,
I know I've got I'm running the majors 500 next weekend, so at least I get a bit of a practice for our own Daytona start. So we've
nice.
already been working on our Q car and our race car. I think don't want to give away times, but faster than last year by
That's,
maybe half a second.
I guess we're gonna have to get to work then. I don't think
Yeah,
I've
I think
touched.
everything's quicker though this year. Like last year, I remember I think in the Cup car for Q, if you were in the low 50 point, low 50s, you were doing good. But we're already down into the 49s this year.
Well, I don't think I've touched Daytona Oval yet. So, and
I haven't
knowing
touched that car.
Tony, I was gonna say knowing Tony, he won't touch it till about 2 days till. So,
Yeah,
probably
two days
still
till.
build
Yeah,
a winner.
whenever we do practice, that's when I'll jump in. That play trick practice is boring as hell.
By yourself, it can
You're not
be.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you're looking for tenths, you're looking for hundreds, really. And it's just, and you don't know if you got a gust of wind or a little bit of sniff of a draft, or it can be very frustrating.
And then you do all that work, you go out on the racetrack, and you could get taken out in lap one by stupidity.
Yeah, that's happened. Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
how I feel. Why put it? Just wait for the race. And just
Listen,
do your best.
2 years ago, I missed our Daytona 500.
Yeah, you did.
Well, looking forward, we got the 2023 A season, like I was just talking about. Just to recap for everybody listening, we're gonna have the ARCA series. It's a fixed series on Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock. Open to drivers that are not A class drivers in the league, which is not A class in iRacing. It's something different. It's league racing or league rating. And then Wednesday nights we're gonna have the Open Truck Series, sponsored by Martin Sports. Again, I want to thank Martin Sports for coming in on this season to sponsor the series. I know we didn't give them much of a shout out last year or last week, but definitely want to thank them this week for sponsoring the series. It's really helped us a lot. Being able to broadcast the series and get you guys' names out there that run the series. And honestly, Richie, the series is starting to kind of fill up as well. We got a good bit of good many drivers.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of, I don't say last minute, but a lot of people applying for the trucks and the Xfinity over the last about a week or so. We're still obviously recruiting for trucks, Xfinity, and ARCA. So, if you're out there listening and you want to get involved, feel free to hop on board.
Again, with Martin Sports, go to martinsports906.com if you guys are interested in gloves, jerseys. They've got all kind of stuff, not just sim racing related, although they've got a lot of sim racing stuff. They've got a lot of other stuff as well, that you guys can check out and purchase. So martinsports906.com, check them out. Again, and then Thursday nights we have Xfinity open setup. We're bringing back the Xfinity car. It's a free series. It's free to join if you guys are interested. If you're listening to this, visit FTSR.net. Check us out. Sign up. Come out and race. Have some fun. Again, open setups for it as well. Looking forward to getting that back. And then we go to Monday nights, which is our premier series, the Cup Series, sponsored by Mach 1 Performance again this year. And Richie, I think you've got a little bit of a tie to them. Uh,
A small one.
and you could tell us a little bit about that. But the Cup Series is also open setup, 9 o'clock as well. Everything's kind of uniform, but 9 o'clock on Monday nights. The next gen car is what Matt was just talking about. We got to get kind of a handle on it. It's new to everybody. I know we had a year on it, but it's still things we're still learning about it. And who knows what changes iRacing is going to make.
Yeah, then they already changed a little bit of it. They changed some of the facial, the front of it, the
Facial.
yeah, I can't even
Front
talk now.
fascia.
Fascia, that's it, front fascia of the car already. So, and that's just the
The
template. So,
facial
yeah,
features.
yeah. So God only knows what they're gonna do it before the Daytonas. So, yeah, there's always that to look forward to.
Yeah. So what's Mach 1 Performance? What is that?
Mach One Performance is a performance company that my late father started, where he was working on some road race cars, some oval racing cars, did in some street performance cars. So right now we have a couple oval cars in our shop right now that we maintain and race throughout the Northeast over here in United States.
Well, Tony, we got a lot of drivers, new drivers coming in. We've got some returning solid drivers, looking to be a very competitive season this year. You know, looking forward. What do you
Oh,
think?
yeah. I'm excited. Hey, with racing comes springtime and warmer weather too. Out here in Chicago, it's a little cold today, and yeah, I'm digging it. We got 4 nights a week. I'm eligible for all four because I have a C license, so I can run ARCA. So I love racing. I race, pretty much every race anyway. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And all these new guys that we're getting into, a lot of them have already been in the off season, and it's been great to race around them. So we're gonna go big time now and run the 3 series or 4 series, and it should be a lot of fun.
I'm really looking forward. I'm not racing the ARCA series, but I'm really looking forward to the ARCA series because you're going to see some guys in a position to kind of step up and stake a claim and say, hey, this is something um, that I'm putting my name on, putting the stamp on it, and kind of stepping up. It's going to show. It's going to put the spotlight on a lot of new drivers. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Kind of seeing who steps up, who's able to take that spotlight and run with it, and maybe advance through the series as well. I'm sure it'll help some guys as well. It's a fixed setup series. It's an easy series to kind of come in and get your get your bearings with, but it should be a lot of fun. And Matt, you mentioned Cup, and I know you're a newer driver in the league, but coming into the 2023 A season, what expectations, aspirations, what do you think is gonna transpire this season?
Look, I don't know who's going to be a front runner. I know that I'm going to be just trying to get top tens each week, consistency. Hopefully, make some playoffs at the end of the season and have some fun along the way.
Yeah, it's true. We're running the A season, but running full playoffs as well alongside, so it should be a lot of fun. It's one thing we didn't
Yep.
talk about, but we do have the playoffs. So I would say winning you're in, but yeah, I don't know if we have more than 16 winners, then it gets a little, so
A little dicey.
yeah, it should be fun. But anyway, it's looking like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Um, but anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. And final thoughts. I'm gonna go around the board. Final thoughts, Richie.
I just can't. I'm kind of happy that the off season's over. We got a couple weeks here before we start. I'm actually looking forward to the Clash because it's something a little different than what we normally do. But can't wait to get to it. Can't wait to get the grind started on the 2023 season. I'm running Cup. I'm running Truck, and I'm going to run some partial Xfinity races. Personally, I'm not running the ARCA series, but I do have a team with 4 drivers on it. So I'm going to try to help those 4 drivers do try to dominate that particular division. And yeah, we're going to have some fun this year.
Looking forward to it. One of your drivers, Tony over here. Tony.
Help me, Richie.
Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Don't hit the wall.
Yeah.
Is he on that same couch with you again?
Yeah.
No, it's not on my
I
couch.
slid over. You didn't know.
Don't you slide over here, buddy.
I don't know. Like I said, was saying, cars are on the track. We had 24 Clash. Racing's here. Racing's back in town. Football's over. Thank God. Just about over. But yeah, I'm stoked for 2023.
All right, Matt. Again, thanks for joining us today, Matt. Um, I enjoyed learning. So I hope some of the guys learned some things about you. Enjoyed learning some of the things going on with you as well. Kind of where you came from, what you're doing. Looking forward to getting to know you and your team. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, man. Again, for me, thanks for having me, and thanks for having us as a team into the league. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't run the Cup car or the next gen car really consistently since it came out, so I'm looking forward to that sort of new challenge. The Clash didn't run it last year, so all new things to be excited for.
All right, well that wraps up episode number 2 of Overdrive. We'll continue to learn. We'll try to shorten it up again next
I was
time.
going to say another nice short.
Yeah, it was 48 minutes. I
Short
mean,
for us.
yeah, it's
And
not
now we're
bad.
making it longer.
Yeah, talking about being long, making it long. Okay, anyway. All right. So for Tony Solari, Richie Coy, and our special guest, Matt Knight, who you see out on the track, I'm Bertie Hanna. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time on Full Throttle Sim Racing Overdrive.